Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Fantasy Chancellor, the fantasy football show. We bring you each and every game week round here on the Upper Tier podcast. Big shout out to Niall, Darren, and the boys doing great work still. Live every Monday and every Thursday for some great interactive shows, which I'd be getting involved with, having a bit of crack in the chat, and it's all open for everyone. Everyone should jump in there, have a bit of fun with the guys. It's very, very good to do live football shows on YouTube. The banter does be absolutely brilliant. So I'd highly recommend it. Now, we are going to discuss last week. Last week, I had a show with Niall and I was going through my team, but it was pretty early on and I made some changes. I actually ended up going because of the lack of Manchester City and Arsenal players. So I did take a gamble. The gamble didn't pay off. It was pretty low scoring week. I think I only got 38, if I remember correctly, is the score I got. And it is, 38. So in goal, I had Sanchez, clean sheet, no problem. Virgil van Dijk, clean sheet. Nico Williams, also a clean sheet. Nathan Collins, unfortunately, didn't manage to keep a clean sheet in his return into the Wolves side. But I expect more points from him coming down the road. So if we look into the midfield, then I went with the gamble of Son in there, and I also stuck with Harry Kane because I thought Tottenham might get at least a couple of goals at Old Trafford, if not the result. But unfortunately, the way they were set up, very negative, very dull, very bad performance by them, and Manchester United run out deserving winners. So by putting Son in there, it certainly didn't pay off. I had Billing in there as well, didn't do anything. Mo Salah was my captain. I expected Liverpool to beat West Ham. I thought they would actually beat them by more, and I expected Salah to continue his goal run. So I put Mo Salah as my captain. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Andres Pereira just coming up with a clean sheet and the 2 regular points as well. And then the front three had to get rid of obviously Haaland and Jesus. So I put in Firmino and Aubameyang, combined score of 3. Did not work out at all. And also Harry Kane drawn a blank at Old Trafford, which I mentioned before. Kind of saw out a kind of a poor game week. If you look on the bench, though, Dean Henderson 11 and Reed for Fulham also with 10 there, and Ben Mee with 6 on the bench. So a combined total of 27 points sitting on my bench, which is kind of unfortunate with the selections that I made. So coming into this week, obviously all the players are back. Everyone's playing this game round. So here's what I've went for this week. Now, in goals, Dean Henderson. I do not expect Nottingham Forest to win this game. I don't expect Nottingham Forest to keep a clean sheet. I do, however, expect him to pop up with some saves. And we know he's good from the penalty spot as well. You know, he can pop up with a penalty save. So I went with Dean Henderson this week. My other goalkeeper, Sanchez, he's going to be up against Manchester City. So I doubt either of these guys are going to keep a clean sheet this weekend. I just went for Henderson just on the fact that I think he'll be very, very busy. And I think he has that penalty save in his locker. So I went with him. In the back line, then, Virgil van Dijk, Nottingham Forest. I can definitely see a clean sheet happening there. So that's a kind of a no-brainer. I kind of pumped a bit of money into the back to get a kind of stable defender. So Van Dijk for now will certainly do me. William Saliba accompanies him. Still a high-scoring defender in the league. So I put him in Southampton. Don't score a lot of goals and don't keep a lot of clean sheets. In fact, last game week round was their first clean sheet of the season, but can they build on it? Hard to know. Beside him then, Nathan Collins. Now, Leicester are coming in off a very, very good win against Leeds United, and one that kind of has kept Brendan Rodgers, I believe, in the job for another while longer. He certainly needed that kind of result the other night, and he got it. He got a tune out of his team, and they finally picked up the 3 points that they needed. In the middle of the park, then, Mo Salah, Nottingham Forest. I fully expect Liverpool to be very, very dominant at the weekend, and I can't see anything other than Liverpool win here, so I went with him. Alongside him, then, Andres Pereira leads away. Leeds not in the best of form, and you have to think with 9 points out of 10 games that Jesse March is going to be under a little bit of pressure going into this one. And Fulham have been very, very good this season because normally Fulham are the yo-yo club, and I think they're going to pick up enough points to stay up this season, which would be great for them. Bukayo Saka beside him. injury doubt after coming out against PSV the other night. So he's in there for now. I don't know if he's going to feature. I don't know what the status is. If we click here, we'll see that he has a 75% chance of playing, it says. So, it's a knock. It could keep him out, but Arsenal have plenty of cover if he does end up being out. But he's actually on form at the moment, so he'd be greatly missed by Arsenal if he is to miss this game. Pascal Gross, Manchester City away. I do not expect much from him, to be honest, but I'm going to put him in there anyway. And then up front, Kane, Newcastle at home. Newcastle have been very good at home, not so good away. Tottenham, though, a bit ropey at the moment. So can Tottenham beat Newcastle? I think they can. I think it'll be a very tight game. So, usually if Tottenham win, Harry Kane scores. So going to keep him in there. The man beside him then, Gabriel Jesus. Call a spade a spade. He hasn't scored a lot of goals. He's made a few assists. His points are decent for what they are. But you can tell, even in terms of his valuation, which is still 8 million from the start of the season, that, if your valuation is not going up at this point in the game, then you're not really doing a whole lot. And Jesus certainly needs to find his shooting boots soon. Beside him, then, self-explanatory, Brighton and Hove Albion still looking for the first win since Potter left. Erling Haaland got a nice little rest during the week. I fully expect him to be on the pitch. Manchester City are already through in the Champions League, so he will definitely play this game. And, he can't but be my captain really against Brighton. You have to really fancy Man City to go and get a kind of a comfortable result there against Brighton. Then the bench there, self-explanatory. You have Sanchez there. Expect him to concede a few goals. I have Reed to come in if Saka isn't fit. Nico Williams then. Don't expect him to keep a clean sheet away to Liverpool, so he's on my bench. Malaysia is kind of a player that I'm going to have to be looked to shipping out because it seems Luke Shaw is taking his place now at Manchester United. And in fairness to Luke Shaw, he's playing pretty well at the moment. So we are going to have a quick look at the league now. So the upper tier. So a lot of changes up at the top. We have Graham Ward in here on 699 points, actually tied with Mark Hogan. The two boys on 699, which are fantastic totals. Just slightly behind them, Miss Belina, friend of my channel, GP Productions Podcast, had her on last year, fantasy football expert. She's actually going to her first Arsenal game this weekend, so best of luck to her. And then the head of the table just behind there on 690, Niall Hogan, and a good friend of mine, Stephen English, and Kevin Mullally there as well. Right up near the top as well. I've fallen a few places now this week. I think I am down around 24th. No, I'm even worse. I'm 26th on 604. So I am just about 94, 95 points off the top of the table. So I really need to up my game to try and get up that league a bit, because we can see that there's still 42 in our league and I'm 26. I'd like to ideally be in around the top 15 before the World Cup break, if that was possible, just to keep a kind of a distance. But that at the same time, it is very tight, like when you're going through it. A couple of good game week rounds, and maybe like you think that a lot of people, I still think 80% of people have Erling Haaland. So as long as he's doing the business and people are captaining them, then it's going to be very hard to kind of get momentum shifts in the table at the moment. I think it's about trying to maybe captain somebody else instead of Haaland, but then if that could backfire and everyone else has him captain and he scores a hat-trick, you're kind of fucked. So it's very hard to know what to do. For now, it's just Erling Haaland captain for me, just to see what happens. So that wraps up another week of the Fantasy Chancer. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, share, whatever you can on this channel. Give the boys the support that they need and deserve, because they're putting out fabulous content week in, week out here on the Upper Tier Podcast on YouTube. So check it out, and I will see you guys again for the next game week round.